Hi, Greg.
Hi, Mr. Flatley.
How you doing?
Oh, excellent. How are you?
I'm terrific.
I'd like to ask you a handful of questions here.
Okay.
I'd like to thank you, first of all, for taking time out of your busy schedule to do this for me.
Oh, not at all. It's my pleasure.
First of all, how did the idea of Lord of the Dance come about?
Well, it's been in my head for years. It's something I always wanted to do. You know, for years I was touring around the world as a soloist, and I always dreamed to have a big show that I could put together that would, have a real Celtic feel and a Celtic flavor and sort of a warrior sort of overtones to it. And I've been putting the story together and the music together in my head for a long, long time, and then finally I got my chance to do it.
Great. What is your criteria for selecting your dancers?
Well, it's actually very difficult and very simple at the same time. It's very simple in that I'm looking for the cream of the crop, for the best in the world at Irish traditional dancing. It's very difficult in that there's not many of those people around. I held my auditions in Dublin, and they had to fly in from all over the world, from Canada, Australia, from Scotland and England and Ireland, and from New York, from all different places. But I ended up with a fabulous crew, and I'm really proud of them.
Excellent. And how did you single out Gillian and Bernadette for the female leads?
Well, it's funny because I had two girls in mind before I went into the audition process, and then I selected the whole troupe. And then one day I asked them all the girls to come out and dance a solo piece for me, and I sort of coaxed them into really expressing themselves and using their bodies and using their facial expression, and I eased them into it. I took them all one at a time. I put on the music and I said, just be yourself, and wow, those two just jumped right out at me, and I had to take them over the two that I already had in my head.
Wow, and the same for Derry Nolan?
And Darren Nolan was, pretty much the same. Yeah, I'd gone through several weeks of hard work with him, but I wanted a big guy who could dance really well, and Darren's he's just a star. I just love him. So the three of those are just outstanding performers, and I can't say enough about Bernadette or Gillian. I think they're just two of the most beautiful girls in the world, and certainly two of the finest dancers.
Absolutely, I'd have to agree with you there. What kind of sacrifices have you had to make on this lengthy tour?
Endless sacrifices. Every single day there are sacrifices. I would love nothing more than to have a home that I could go to, but I don't own a home. I'd love to have a car I could go for driving, but I don't have one. I'd love to have a wife, but I don't have one of those. And I'd love to have some time off, and I'm afraid that's not even possible. So there's lots of sacrifices, and there's nights when the pain is pretty severe and your legs are shaking and you're exhausted. I'm in Atlanta, Georgia here. Last night it was 126 degrees on stage.
Wow.
And really difficult to perform and to keep the fluids and everything in your body. It's really difficult. So it's an endless string of sacrifices. But having said that, I wouldn't trade it for anything in the world because it's a dream come true for me.
Yeah. Okay. And when you were doing the first show that night in Dublin, very first Lord of the Dance, what was going through your mind 5 minutes before the show was going to start?
I can't wait till the bell rings.
Really?
I couldn't wait.
Were you nervous?
No.
No?
I was ready for it. I was real prepared. I'd waited all my life for this chance, and I knew that I could do it. I had the best team of dancers in the world, the best Irish Celtic rock band in the world with me. Just the whole team. We were ready. I think everybody felt the same way. I'm sure some of the youngsters probably had some nerves, but I just could not wait.
When did you know that show was going to be a hit in that night?
I knew when the lights went down and the audience started roaring before they saw anything. Everybody was clapping in anticipation. Before my solo, they started screaming. When I came on the stage, they started screaming. I just got the energy from them. You could feel their energy all the way through it. We did 5 encores on that opening night.
Wow, yeah. And what was the hardest piece to choreograph in the whole show?
The hardest for choreography? Probably the encore. If I think about it, probably the encore. That was the most difficult piece because it's most of it is a cappella. And, you've got 40 dancers that are doing contrapuntal rhythm patterns simultaneously, and you have to keep them all at exactly the same speed, in step, to the same rhythm. So it has to sound like one dance, or it has to sound like several tracks laid over. And it was incredibly difficult.
Okay. And you said numerous interviews you took up dancing at 11. Was there anything in the way that kept you from learning before that time, or was it just not introduced to you?
It just wasn't introduced to me.
Okay, and then when you found it, you just latched on and...
Yeah, just took it from there. You know, it's just something I sort of did in the beginning, and then I sort of began liking it, you know.
Okay. And taking a step back in time, how did you initially get involved with the Chieftains, and how long did you tour with them?
Well, I toured with them on and off for 10 years, which is a long time. I did a concert somewhere in New York as a soloist. I was dancing and playing the flute, and a couple of weeks later, I was in an apartment in Chicago, and the phone rang, and this guy in a very thick English accent said, "Morgan Flatley, yes, this is Joe Houston. I'm the manager of the Chieftains." And I said, "Really?" And he said, "We just wondered if you'd be available to do an upcoming tour with us, if you'd like to dance with the band for a couple of shows." And I asked him when they were, and he told me, and I said, "Let me just check my schedule." "Yes, I'll do it." That kind of thing. The Chieftains are just the greatest, you know. They're the greatest band in the world, probably. So I did the first concert, and at the end of the first night, their chieftain, Paddy Maloney, asked me would I like to stay on for the whole tour. So we worked out a deal, and I stayed on for the whole tour, and 10 years later we were still doing it.
Okay. And they're still together, correct?
Oh, yeah. They just won another Emmy, or Grammy, is it? Grammy?
Yeah.
Yeah, they just won another one here recently. God, they just keep winning them. They must have won 100 of them.
Wow. And do they have anybody that dances with them anymore, or they just perform music?
I think they just perform music as far as I know, but I don't really know, to tell you the truth.
Okay. And one thing a lot of people have been curious about, why was the flute scene not initially in the video?
Why was the flute scene? Which flute?
When you come out in the show and you do the flute jam with the rest of the musicians.
The band?
Yeah.
We didn't have it together at that time. We didn't have it in the show, actually. That's the problem.
Oh, okay.
We added that at a later time. You know, there was just so much work to do with the dance that I didn't have an opportunity to break out the music and put it in. But it's a great number. I just love it.
And how long after the initial show did you add that to the tour?
Oh, God. Only probably just a few months later.
Okay.
Yeah.
And let's see, would you ever consider creating another touring dance production like this?
I would, actually. I have another one finished already in my head. I don't know that I'll ever do it because I'm just really happy with this show, and it's gone so far, you know, and done so well. So it's really hard for me to imagine myself doing anything more than that. I might. You never know. You know, we'll just have to let time tell, I guess.
Yeah. Okay. And after you're all done with Lord of the Dance and you're satisfied with how it's going, how soon can the public expect to see you on the big screen?
You know, I don't know. I mean, this is something I've been debating. I'm supposed to start shooting a film in May, and I think I'll try it all right. But, you know, I keep hearing stories of how great it is to be in Hollywood and how great it is to be a movie star. Maybe it is. It's just that I can't imagine it being any better than what I'm doing right now. I make more money than I can spend. I'm so happy dancing every night, and I love the response of the live audience. I meet wonderful people. I've got a cast of, you know, maybe 25 of the most beautiful girls in the world with me traveling around the world. It doesn't get much better than this.